So here we go, Android 15 is now here, and that means new features and functions for your Google Pixel. So here is every single change and alteration you need to know about this year's biggest software release. So I've just unboxed my beautiful Pixel 9, but I really need some protection. I need MagSafe, extra grip, and maybe even a little customization. Well, I guess that's where channel sponsor Dbrand fits in nicely. The latest range of Dbrand grip cases fulfills all of your requirements. Grippy? Check. Soft inner layer to stop scratching of your phone? Check. Ultra precise cutouts for all of the ports and peak holes? Check. Textured buttons? Check. Protective screen lip? Check. Customizable with Dbrand's official lineup? That's a big check as well. Dbrand even added MagSafe because Google couldn't be bothered. Don't like cases? Well, slap a skin on that thing. Super sleek, looks great, doesn't add any bulk. I mean, you don't want to leave your screen unprotected, so why don't you get a super precise Dbrand tempered glass screen protector? Fits like a glove and stops scratches above a level 6 and even plays nicely with all cases. Get protected with your phone, your Pixel 9 or any other Pixel for that matter, using the link down in the description below. Let's start off with all of the UI changes. These are what we call core interface alterations that have been tweaked, tuned and adjusted. So without any further ado, let's get into it. The Android 14 QPR releases added a new app list section setting, which is accessible with a long press from the home screen. This includes controls like the ability to instantly invoke device search with a swipe up into the app drawer. Android 15 goes a step further though and has added a toggle that allows you to remove or display apps with long names. If the latter option is enabled, long names will appear over 2 lines and the app drawer spacing may be altered with this adjustment. A couple of things have been altered in the Wi-Fi privacy settings in Android 15. There's now a new dedicated sub-menu that replaces the pop-up panel. There's also a new send device name toggle that enhances your security when connected to specific Wi-Fi networks. By disabling this option, your device name is hidden from that network. However, other identifying information such as MAC and IP addresses will be visible to network admins if they do want to seek that out. On Google Pixel phones, the new Pixel Weather section replaces the Weather section. This is now home to the exclusive weather widgets that you'll find on Google Pixel devices, so if you're looking for it, you now know where it is. To help you understand how your on-device storage is being utilized, the storage section now breaks out the system into 2 new categories. There's a new Android option, which is the total amount of on-device storage that has been assigned to the system install. The temporary system files section now indicates how much space has been taken up by app caches and other files that can be deleted or restored, giving you an insight as to what you can remove and what you can't remove on your phone. The pop-up authentication panel that you'll usually see and appears in-app or in system sections secured behind passcodes or biometrics has been altered here in Android 15. It's marginally larger than it was in Android 14, with an app icon showing which application or service has requested access or access to your biometric data. There's also a larger text within this panel and a confirm button allowing you to continue if you wish. The privacy section has also been elevated in the security and privacy panel in Android 15. This puts important privacy controls front and center, allowing you to quickly access the privacy dashboard section and the new private space option. More on that later. No functionality has changed, it's just easier to access and less hidden within extra settings. The volume panel that is accessed by using the on-screen volume control menu has now been updated in Android 15 to encompass a larger section and includes more options like live captions and the ability to choose connected device output control. There's a splash of material hue color and extra shapes thrown in, but there's also improved sliders, and this is a full overhaul to improve the volume control experience. This section is also wider on tablets and foldables, with controls laid out side by side. Other controls remain the same on larger screens. One negative change here is that this enhanced panel does not have sections though that can be minimized like in the previous versions of Android. The Wallpaper and Style app has now gained the color contrast option that was previously found in developer options. This change also brings a more mature UI with a preview of the changes you're making in tuning, allowing you to get real-time feedback on how apps and toggles will look. One important thing to note is that the changes to this option will affect dynamic color tuning. The widget panel in Android 15 now has a top level section where suggested app widgets will live and can be selected from distinct categories. This encompasses a number of options including essentials and entertainment, but more are available depending on what apps are currently installed on your smartphone and tablet and what widgets they do have available. The Android 15 wallpaper picker and editor also does a better job at distinguishing between lock and home screen through an updated card-based user interface. Tapping will bring you a full screen preview, without the two buttons at the bottom, where you can actually zoom in and out to adjust, and Edit Pencil is now shown at the bottom for making changes or adjusting existing AI wallpapers. Tap the check mark in the top right corner to return to the card view. Set Wallpaper is the final step, with the ability to choose whether you want to apply to both surfaces or just one in particular. Like before, you can repeat this process to set independent backgrounds, but it's another nice touch, another upgrade in Android 15 that is probably long overdue. Controls for adjusting the colour contrast of your theme or display are now also available in the display section of the settings application. This is the same option as found in the wallpaper and style section, and it does the exact same thing, so skip back to that one if you want to know what this does. The Pixel does not support dual physical SIM slots, but you can have an eSIM and a physical SIM. To help manage this, Android 15 now has an enhanced and updated SIMs menu. This menu literally just lets you quickly enable or disable SIMs and adjust whether those SIMs can access mobile data, allowing you to make those changes on the fly. So that's the UI out of the way. Android 15 though has a number of usability changes that you need to be aware of. So here's a lowdown on those usability additions. On Pixel Tablet and Pixel Fold, you now have the option to always show the taskbar when in Recents or in chosen applications, wherever an app is open, to facilitate this quick switching, basically. When an app is open, just long press the taskbar and a toggle will appear to enable that floating pill-shaped persistent UI element. It looks really nice. It also is one of those options that you can change on the fly as you see fit. Android 15 also now lets you archive apps directly from system settings, freeing up the storage on your device. Archived apps can be easily restored and downloaded, and the permissions are remembered on your phone. This feature is separate from the Google Play apps archiving option, offering more control over your on-device storage at any moment's notice. New enhancements are also now available for the webcam feature, including a HQ mode that improves video quality. While the improvement is noticeable, it's most apparent in well-lit conditions. Additionally, using your phone as a webcam now requires fingerprint authentication in Android 15 for that added security. When on cellular or mobile networks, you now have a new cellular network security menu or mobile network security error, depending on your region, that allows you to set up notifications if a mobile network is insecure or lacks encryption. It also will notify you if said network attempts to record your IMEI or IMSI, which is a great addition as it can prevent the usage of Stingray devices, which are designed to mimic cell towers or trick phones into connecting to them and therefore track your location. Android 15 also now includes controls to select the default NFC or wireless payment system, allowing you to use more region-specific or banking-specific applications. By default, this is still set to Google Wallet, but you can also disable wallet applications or select any supported app on your device. To mimic the brightness slider haptics when reaching the upper and lower limits of the volume slider, there's now soft haptic feedback throughout that actual process. Haptics are not present when using the enhanced volume panel, but it is noticeable when you're using this and have haptics enabled on your device. The app pairs function has been in the works for a long time, and it's now finally available here in Android 15. App pairs are simply two saved applications that you can instantly launch into split screen mode from your home screen. This may not work with all applications on your phone, but it is super simple to create these. To make your own app pairs, launch your chosen applications in split screen and then tap the new button in Recents menu to add it to your home screen, and it should live there. You can remove and delete these. Tapping them will instantly launch those apps into split screen mode. Google has also added an adaptive vibration option to Pixel phones, and this new option, which is found under the vibration and haptics menu in settings, defaults to off by standard. Google explains that this setting will automatically adjust vibration strength based upon your surroundings and based on the sensors on your phone. The animation shown for the new page for adaptive vibration shows the vibration strength lowering when your phone's on a table, for instance, implying it's what the Pixel phones will do when the setting is turned on, but it is hard to tell if this is making a difference. When you disable Bluetooth here in Android 15, it now doesn't stay deactivated indefinitely by default. Instead, it'll reactivate in 24 hours, kind of like how Apple devices enable Wi-Fi after the same period. You will need to go into the Bluetooth settings and disable automatically turn on again tomorrow, or it will reactivate itself and your phone will pair again with your Bluetooth accessories. Google has also updated this menu, or at least the M3 buttons here, to more rounded off rather than being squared off in Android 14 and older. Android 15 has also added a new hearing devices quick settings tile, which is designed to make it even easier to pair with Bluetooth hearing aids and devices and use some of the other accessibility features on your phone. This is enabled and available by default, just need to add this to your quick settings menu with no added setup required, making it a great accessibility option thrown in for good measure. Predictive background animations are also now enabled across the system by default. It's most visible in the settings application, but there are also no options or to enable or disable this in developer options as it was previously. Not all apps currently support this, but it is most notable in those default Google applications and services, making it easier to know where you're going to end up when you do use the back animation gesture. When you initially swipe up into the app drawer, you may see a top row of recent or suggested applications for quick access or quick opening. With Android 15, or at least with this update, you're now able to remove any future suggestions of specific applications from this section itself by long pressing and tapping the pop-up Don't Suggest App option. On apps with lots of quick actions baked in, this may appear as a no or prohibited symbol, doing the same thing. In Android 15, one of the biggest new features is the private space option, which allows you to set up a separate Google account for enhanced privacy with the device and use an existing one concurrently. Additional security measures include choosing a unique lock screen and customizing auto lock settings for this account. Once activated, private space apps are hidden from the main system and their activities are isolated. They won't appear in the recents, settings and other sections on your device. Private space is designed to protect sensitive information by creating a separate digital space within your phone. It's ideal for things like banking, medical, or even work-related apps that require extra levels of security. Google touts this as a way to separate work and personal profiles on the same device by keeping entire systems and accounts separate. The adaptive timeout function automatically turns off your screen when you're not using your device. Although that said, it's not clear how this is determined, but it could use some of the on-device hardware such as the front-facing camera and proximity sensors at the top of your device to determine if you're using your phone and keep it unlocked or locked based on context. The option for circle to search when using on-screen buttons has also been elevated to the navigation mode section. It's not a major change, but it just makes it a little bit easier to find. You don't have to delve into extra menus, it's right there at your fingertips. The Pixel tablet has also gained smart home controls as a screensaver here in Android 15. This basically mimics the expanded home button that you can access on Pixel lock screens, with all of your previously set smart home devices now visible within this new screensaver and accessible. Another one of the biggest changes in Android 15 is a new device diagnostics section. This is comprised of two distinct sections, components and health, and evaluation mode. Located under System and Device Diagnostics, the Component Health section offers a range of diagnostic tests. There's battery status. This feature basically brings back the crucial battery health metrics, including the overall health, manufacturing date, first usage, and the cycle count of your phone. This information is valuable for determining when a battery replacement might be necessary. The display test offers a comprehensive test and evaluates the screen responsiveness, performance, and the calibration. Users can use this to identify display issues through color calibration and touch sensitivity tests. The storage status option is a tool that provides insights into the lifespan of your phone's flash storage, offering an estimate of its health based upon the read and write cycles. It also displays the device's total storage capacity. Evaluation mode allows users to test another device remotely. And after granting location permissions and establishing a data connection, the tool conducts display calibration tests and generates a report that can be sent to another phone for extra analysis or sent off for anyone else. Google has also upped the Android SDK supported version in Android 15 now to 35. This does mean that apps targeting Android 6.0 Marshmallow or older now can't be sideloaded or installed in Android 15. The OS will block installation, and this should not necessarily affect most of your applications on your device. That said, it's worth checking if some of your really old devices that haven't been updated in a while will work with Android 15. You'll know straight away if you try to sideload it, as you'll get warnings after the installation process has supposedly finished. There's also a new toggle in developer options that allows you to bypass the default maximum 60Hz frame rate for games. This might not affect the title in question that you're trying to use, but it could help unlock higher frame rates on higher refresh rate screens. Think 90, 120Hz and 144Hz. USB data access when lockdown mode is activated is now completely blocked here in Android 15. This applies to accessories and most importantly, while plugged into a PC, Mac or Linux machine. This added protection ensures that your on-device files are safe, cannot be wiped or altered using ADB commands, and just adds an extra layer of security that you didn't already know that lockdown mode should offer. Android 15 also introduces a new Allow WEP networks toggle, but it is important to understand the risks of enabling this. WEP is an outdated and highly insecure wireless encryption protocol. While this change might seem counterintuitive, it does provide flexibility for users out there who might encounter legacy networks and want to connect with their Android 15 powered Pixel phone. When you're using other languages in Android 15, there's now a new grammatical gender option if you use another of those supported languages. At present, this only applies to French as far as we can tell, but when the setting is enabled, the main system language allows you to set the default gendered term that Android will address you by where appropriate. This is also based upon your setting of neutral, feminine or masculine. By default, this is set not specified, but you can also adjust this from the new developer options section if you wish to alter it. Found in the developer options section, the disable screen share protections toggle allows you to selectively choose if certain applications can be shared with screen recordings or screenshots. In theory, this would allow for screen recordings of sensitive applications, but we would say it's not advised due to extra privacy reasons and security reasons. This appears to be firmly aimed at developers for app and service testing purposes, so with that in mind, we'd say keep this one disabled on your phone. A big tentpole of Android 15 is the ability for developers to profile information within applications. To those of us that aren't devs, this manifests itself as the ability to check memory usage within developer options or disable it entirely. Memory usage profiling is disabled by default and requires you to restart your phone once enabled. That said, it will give you extra data on the memory usage of applications and services on your device when it is enabled and your phone has rebooted. Okay, so this last lot of alterations are purely cosmetic, things that look different but basically work the same. And here's all of these cosmetic and tiny little extra changes that we found so far in Android 15. So if you choose to enter a passcode or PIN from the lock screen, you'll see that the entry prompt has actually changed from enter your PIN to a much simpler enter PIN. Text on the lock screen also appears larger for system messages like that enter PIN phrase and the emergency call button. It's not massively noticeable, but you can see this side by side with Android 14. Also, when lockdown mode is enabled, a new message is visible on the lock screen, which is visible over 2 lines. There is a new enter PIN text and PIN is required after lockdown, which you'll see of those on separate lines on the lock screen. To coincide with the launch of the new OS update, the updated Android 15 system UI icon can be found in the status bar and system level notification pop-ups. This icon matches the vanilla ice cream codename for this update, with the bug droid in a neat little ice cream cone. Device and app notifications has also been renamed in the settings section to notification, read, reply and control. There's also when you take a screenshot, the bottom left preview has rounded edges and corners to better fit with other UI tweaks added in recent updates. The crop and edit buttons are also now circular, but they sit below the mini preview instead of to the right of it. The battery widget on Pixel phones now also shows the device you are using in a slightly different color hue for easy identification versus any connected accessories like earbuds and smartwatches. You can see this side by side with Android 14, and you'll notice it's a lot easier to spot just how much battery is left on your phone or the device that you're currently using. When adjusting the brightness from the display and touch section, which is the new name for the display section, the slider is actually in a better position so that the back button in the top left is still accessible. The slider itself no longer reaches fully from one side of the screen to the other, making it easier to make those macro and micro adjustments on your phone without touching the edge of the screen and closing this panel. If you happen to use the multiple users option in Android 15, it now lets you set your Google account picture as you use the profile image. This helps unify the image that you'll see in places like the settings app or in the status bar. A new Google Pixel avatar application actually handles changes made to this profile image. You'll know that your profile icon is pulled from your Google account because you'll see a little G icon in the bottom right corner when you select it and after you've set it. Edge-to-edge app support in Android 15 is now enforced by default. This means apps will now utilize the entire screen, extending content behind the status bar and navigation bars. Previously, opting into edge-to-edge mode was an optional for developers, but it should be standard with most applications moving forward. It's also worth noting that this Android 15 update also makes some very minor improvements to tons of animations within the entire Android system, including things like the easing between frames and how sections are coming to view on screen. You might not notice right away, but it definitely feels smoother when you're using this compared to older versions. And last but not least, it wouldn't be a new Android release without a new Android Easter egg. This year, it's actually a 2-part secret that builds off the Easter egg which was introduced in Android 14. The mini space exploration game now lets you plant a yellow flag on planets that you find in those virtual solar systems. That's not all though, as after accessing the Easter egg for the first time, that means going to settings, the about phone section, tapping the Android builder multiple times and then accessing it, you gain access to a new screensaver on your device. The Landroid screensaver shows the spacecraft blasting off into space, and it'll land on planets or orbit the sun itself without any input. Once again, it ties in perfectly with the space theme that Android has been following in recent years, and I have to say this Easter egg looks great on larger screens like the Pixel tablet, and it's probably one of those options you could use to run around, showcase Android 15 without actually having to enable or find those planets for yourself with this Easter egg. So that's the entirety of Android 15. I have to say it's a small update compared to years prior. You probably could call it Android 14.5. Heck, in my mind it feels a lot like Android 12.5, given we've really seen little since 2021 in all honesty, but that's basically a lot. To celebrate this launch, we have an exclusive Android 15 wallpaper that we're giving away to everyone who's viewing this video that you can download in the description below and in the pinned comment. If you want more content like that, how about hitting that join button? We have lots of digital assets that you can download and get early access to right away. Let me know what you think is the best new feature in Android 15 down in the comment sections below. I think it is slim pickings this time around. Until next time, thanks for watching and I will speak to you later.